Jesse, what do you think about the future? Just tell me your thoughts, Jesse.
That's a weird question, dude.
Well, you know what? It was just the first question in my head, and then I said, that's what I'm going to say. I think the future is exciting. I do. I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, me too. I think a lot of people are like really cynical about the future. Dude, look at these shoes, dude. They're like knit. That's crazy. The whole thing is knit.
It's called Fly Knit.
Fly knit. Okay.
They were $180.
I know, and you paid too much for them.
I paid only $120.
That's ridiculous, dude.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. I paid $50 for these smackers.
Yeah, they look disgusting.
That's because I work with them. All right, dude, what did you learn about the Green New Deal?
Well, it has some interesting points, Jesse.
It does. It has some really interesting points, dude.
Let me see. Well, okay, first of all, I think obviously it's never going to pass.
And why do you think that?
It's way too ambitious.
Yeah, dude. It's like
100% way too ambitious.
I was reading this thing and I was like, dude, this is great.
Yeah.
But how are we going to pull this off? This can't happen.
Exactly.
I think it was kind of like a PR stunt a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like discredit Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but I think this is a bit of a PR stunt. Because she's like causing a bunch of noise and getting all the millennials to pay attention to her. And dude, if she runs for president, maybe not in 2020, but in 2024, oh man, dude, everybody would vote for that woman.
I don't think she can.
Why?
Because she's only 29.
How old do you have to be?
You gotta be 35.
Then she'd be 35. Well, 34 or 35 maybe.
I think she'd be maybe only 34.
Okay.
Well, maybe 35 by the time the election comes around.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe you only have to be 35 by Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so did you learn anything about the democratic socialism? 'Cause that's the one thing I didn't look up.
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, just that, they think everybody should have access to like housing and food and health and
and I know I just follow or I have a lot of really politically conservative friends on Facebook, and everybody like is anti-socialism. Yeah. And like sure, it's a bad deal when it turns into like communism and stuff, but like I don't know, man. I haven't heard Representative Ocasio-Cortez say like anything that doesn't make sense yet.
Well, I mean, it's just the idea that there has to be a way to make life better.
Right, dude. That's what I love about her. Just her thought process is like, this is bad. There has to be a better way.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just like, no, we tried this better way. Like, okay, you're looking at like one model of socialism that keeps on going poorly.
Yeah.
Like, there's also a better way than that one,
Yeah. Which I feel like, as far as like our country goes, I don't think we could ever get anything like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just because our politicians are too, not concerned about.
I know.
Things. Mm-hmm. The only thing that people care about is like the economy.
Right.
And how much money we're making.
Dang it, Tito. Don't bump the camera.
Which is like...
Go on. Go away.
I don't know. That only really affects like the top majority of people. Okay, this is what I was telling you about value, Jesse.
Okay.
Okay. Like, when you go to a really fancy restaurant and you buy a hamburger for $15, right?
I've done that.
That value is like, it's like a disappearing value.
Yeah,
it's not going to last.
It's a disappointing value is what it is.
And so an economy, your economy is based on building value. Right?
Dude, that dog's toenails are gonna just be clicking this entire video.
That's okay.
He's just walking around. Okay,
That's
say what
okay.
you just said again.
I was gonna say, your economy is built on building value, like taking
Okay.
raw resources and transforming them into lasting value.
We need to get him to stop moving.
Tito,
Tito, come here.
why don't you go lay down on the couch?
Tito, come here. Come on, bud. Good boy. Lay down. Stay. Good boy. I don't get his attention.
Don't talk about
All right.
the large animal in the room.
Now that that dang dog's
I forgot what I was
toenails
saying.
aren't clicking
I forgot what I was
anymore.
saying. No, Jesse.
Value, disappearing value
Yeah,
in the $16 cheeseburger.
exactly. Exactly. That's right.
What about it?
I don't know how.
Do you have points to it?
No, no, not really.
Okay. Okay.
I had a point, but I think I started rabbit trailing.
So, this is what everything in this damn house makes so much noise.
Dude, it's literally like perfectly balanced.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like tearing. Like, put this right here. Oh, just put right over here.
I'll put it right here.
There.
Well, anyway. Okay, what was so frustrating to me with this is like, humanity has the capability to pull this off.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it like will save
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
That's what's so frustrating because humanity is so reactive instead of proactive, and nobody would ever do this
Yeah.
until it was an issue right in front of our face, and then
Yeah.
it's time to change. And like, dude, now it's now or never, dude. Like, we're screwed, man. And
That's right.
people are just, they refuse to be uncomfortable for, you know.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that, like, other countries are figuring this out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, my mom was just telling me, I think it's like, I don't know, maybe you know about this, Poland or some European country made...
Cat! You're not... Go back to the couch.
Go! We're not doing this right now. Some country made all their public transportation just free.
Oh, yeah.
In order to
Yeah.
encourage people to stop driving.
Yeah. No, 100%. Because it's not like the light rail here. People always say, like, it's a waste of money. They don't make any money off the light rail.
Mm-hmm.
The point is not to make money off the light rail. It's to, allow the infrastructure to build businesses and commercialization around it.
Mm.
And which is true. There's been, lots of developments along the light rail that formed because of, ease of access for other people.
Sure.
So the light rail, it might not make a bunch of money, but all these other businesses are making, millions.
Yeah, it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's right.
Yeah. So, then of course, yeah, so the other thing that instantly came to my mind is, where is this money coming from? Dude, don't put stuff on the table and make noise with it. It's going to be really loud.
Oh yeah, I'll put it over here.
There you go. If you touch the table with it, it's going to make a loud
Dunk,
noise.
dunk, dunk, dunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where the hell is all
Where's
the
the
money
money
gonna come
coming
from? And there was one thing that I came across, and I didn't look too much into it, but her like tax idea something is apparently, like, all these economists say it's just disastrous, it can't happen, but she's like fighting for it. Like, just to the most basic synopsis of it is, instead of a like pay as you go government where we just like, we need money now, so we just find it wherever we can. Hey, China, give us money.
Yeah.
You like just make cuts and you save money for stuff, and then you don't buy something until you have saved the money for it. And everybody's like, all these economists are saying this is just like disastrous. I'm like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
It does it.
That's how buying things work.
This thing that we're doing with our money in this country is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Just purging money that we don't own. It's like China's just gonna come and collect someday, and they're gonna just own us and do whatever they want with us. Like, it's just unreal. And so it's like, I mean, yeah, it sucks to taxes suck, dude. Just like being mandated, like just because you were born in this time in this place, like you just have to give up a lot of like your wealth. Like they're talking about building wealth, but yet the wealthiest people are like taxed the most, and that sucks. But I mean, what we're doing now doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if I have to start paying taxes that I don't want to pay for like a better future for the world, like it's just what has to happen.
Well, see, and that's the problem is that like it works, but it only works kind of okay.
Right.
Which is the thing, because people are like, no, just leave it alone, it's fine.
It's like humanity is surviving right now, not thriving.
It's just like, our country could be so much better.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah,
dude. It's frustrating.
Well, the other thing, too, with money, though,
is
that I say, instead of, like, remodeling all these cities, we should just build new ones. Because, like the light rail, putting light rail into the Twin Cities, that was really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had the light rail built, or planned to be built, it would have been significantly less expensive. Because it's not like...
had they constructed the city around this plan in the first place?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. I guess people weren't...
Like, I'm just
in the early
saying,
1800s, they weren't thinking of, like, a light train system.
See, that's the thing. You have to plan for the future.
Right, but how do we plan for the future now? We don't know what transportation will look like 100 years from now.
Well, no. But...
So how do we do that?
I mean, I would like to say that it's probably going to be bigger. Like, you probably have more... Well, you'd be transporting more things.
Sure. Also, I think it's just dumb that transportation happens on the ground.
Yeah.
Right on top of the ground where we're trying to live and raise our families and have fun and build things.
Too much space.
So much space, dude. I want to know how many cubic or square miles of asphalt we have in this country. Like,
a lot.
I bet we could fill up like a medium-sized state just with road surface.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
But it'd only be like, this much. This tall.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying, like, the surface area.
It would just be flat, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's way too much surface area to take up with this stupid road surface.
Well, and like...
That kills people, and it requires incredible maintenance, especially
like parking lots, too.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean, at least they have, like, high-rise garages now. That's a little better.
Do it like IKEA, where you just park under your restaurant, and you go upstairs, and your restaurant's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
That's like, they have a new building design. It's not really new.
Okay.
But the idea is that...
The
idea is that instead of building... You probably know about this because you're a builder person. But instead of building like one complete structure, they build it as if you're going to continue to build on top of it. So they plan for future expansion. So it might only be, 2 or 3 levels.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever want to put something on top of it, you can always expand like that.
Yeah. That's interesting. I would like to know how they, like, theorize that it's, I mean, like, how is that going to work? How do we know that that's going to work? Because like building processes become outdated, and
Yeah.
a building works more poorly now than it did when it was built. Yeah.
Well, that's
Always.
true.
Like you can't not have that.
That is true.
So, are these buildings going to like pass a building code 100 years from now, and are we going to be allowed to build on top of them?
I'm not sure. I don't know, Jesse.
So I don't know how
But
they figure that out.
I think they do have more potential than
Yeah, it's a
just
great
a
idea.
regular building.
It's definitely a great start.
But that's why I'm going to build my candy shop.
Oh, dude, I forgot about your candy shop. When are we going to start that?
That's right.
You gotta get a go. Micah.
Yeah, it
Really?
stops at 15.
That's terrible. So we're gonna have 4 videos.
Yeah, you just link them up together. It's fun.
Okay. So Micah's camera just stopped. So here's another cut.
Well, I mean, I'll cut it so you can't tell it stopped.
No, you'll be able to tell. There'll be a cut.
Well,
Be
I
able to
guess
tell
so.
there's a
I
cut.
guess so. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway. So dude, this is the
We just have to start each video in the same position, and then right when it ends, we just like that.
The Green New Deal, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Page 2, section 4, subpart, well, A and B.
Wait. Let me pull it up on my phone. I didn't print it off.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'll just read it. Global reductions in greenhouse gas emissions from human sources of 40 to 60% from 2010 levels by 2030. So that gives us 11 years to cut our greenhouse gas emissions from human sources in half. And so does that just mean everything but cows? Like, what does she mean by human sources?
I think like power plants.
And cars and things.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
What's a non-human source, though? Just a cow? Animals? Livestock? Is
No,
that still a
that-
human source?
Well,
What is it
I
referring
think they're talking
Just
like
natural versus...
like volcanoes and
heat.
stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, 11 years to cut our greenhouse gases in half, which again, like, we have the capacity to do that. We have the capacity
Yeah.
to do that in like
Yeah.
2 years, but we're not gonna. And
Yeah.
like everybody's just going to scream like an affront on our freedom, like, "You're taking my freedom away. This is America." Well, buddy,
You're all
America's
gonna
dying.
die.
America's dying quickly.
Yeah.
So stuff needs to change, dude. And then net zero global emissions by 2050. That sounds even more ambitious. I don't think net zero is necessarily possible within a couple hundred years, but maybe down to like 5% of what it is. You're never gonna. I just don't think it's realistic to try to eliminate that altogether in
Yeah.
21 years or whatever. How many is that? 21 years.
Yeah. 21 years.
Do I have that right? Math is
No.
hard. No, 31 years.
39. 31.
31. We figured that out. So,
Yeah, we're really smart.
but like, dude, electric cars. I mean, still, even like, so manufacturing electric cars has a pretty significant
Yeah.
carbon footprint. However, I don't. How does how does it work to like offset your carbon emission? How do you do such a thing?
I don't even know. I think they just plant more trees.
It's got to be more than that, though. Like, there's got to be some sort of scrubbing system to scrub carbon emission out of CO2 out of the air. That has to exist.
Not really.
How does that not exist?
They've talked about like
Trees have done it for 1 trillion years, and we can't figure out how to do it with a machine.
Well, trees don't actually do it though.
What do they do?
Well, I mean, they store the carbon, but if they're like burnt or something, then they release all the carbon.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the carbon
When
cycle.
when they decay, though, do they?
Yeah,
They release all of the carbon that they've taken,
yeah.
but as CO2 or just as carbon, not as CO2. We're not worried
Well,
about carbon.
Carbon and CO2. Because that's how like.
A little bit.
Well, I mean like.
Not a whole lifespan of CO2 gets released when a tree
Yeah.
burns. right? Because it's taken all of that carbon and turned it into tree structure.
Yeah.
So all the carbon out of the CO2 and turning it into tree structure and giving us back the O2, right?
Yeah.
So when it burns, it becomes ashes, which is carbon, and that just nourishes the soil. That's not going back into the atmosphere, except for like I guess it burns up in smoke or something. There might be CO2 in smoke in the combustion of it.
Yeah, the combustion.
But that's certainly not a lifetime storage of CO2 that tree has done for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a significant amount of CO2.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're supposed to know these things, dude. That's why I'm here. I'm the dumb one, dude. You're supposed to be the smart one.
I mean, I don't know 100% for sure, but we do have like significantly more greenery in the U.S. than we did before.
Sure, a lot of cities do stuff.
Because we started controlling like forest fires.
Poorly.
Yeah. Well, no, because what's happening now is that, like, way back in the day, you'd have, like, forest fires were really common, and so they burned down a bunch of trees, and so the trees were more, like, spread out and, dispersed.
Yeah.
Whereas now, they stop fires, and we have trees everywhere.
Dude.
So when you get a fire, it burns the entire forest, which, is, like, miles and miles and miles.
Have you ever been to West Virginia?
Mm-mm.
Dude, these like expanses where, I mean, it's super, super dense forest everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's all like new growth stuff because 100 years ago they just wiped that whole freaking state clean of logs. Yeah. Dude, it's maybe one of the saddest. West Virginia might be the saddest place in the United States.
Well, that's like
to visit, to see.
Like a lot of the companies that cut trees and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they say, like, we plant a tree for every tree we cut down, well, they plant pine trees because they grow faster. And so you can go on, like, Google Earth and look at places where they cut down. Everything will be, like...
I mean, pine makes up, like, 99-point-something% of lumber. It's all pine.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you can see...
So what else are they supposed to plant when they cut down a pine tree? They should probably plant a new pine tree.
No, they're cutting down like oak trees.
Not as much. There are very few oak trees get cut down per pine tree. Like, per 100 pine trees, I bet they would cut down like a 10th of an oak tree.
If you go on Google Earth, though, you can see like squares of pine trees.
Sure, oak trees suck anyway.
Deciduous forests.
Oak trees suck, though. They're so, what do you call it? Like, susceptible to diseases and stuff. Like, they're only good for,
like burning?
Yeah, they're good for, like, firewood and flooring. Like, it's not great wood.
I mean, it's like harder wood.
It's super hard. That's why it's good for floors.
Yeah.
But it's hard to work with. It's like, it's just...
knotty.
There might be something I'm missing about the benefit of oak trees over other trees, but...
I was just thinking about, like...
oak sucks, dude.
I was just thinking about, like, habitat-wise.
Squirrels?
But I don't know.
We probably need squirrels for something. We're gonna, we're gonna find out in 100 years that the squirrel population is dying, and that's, like, gonna end the world after bees. After we've saved the bees, we're gonna have to save the squirrels.
Yeah.
But dude, oak trees, they just die. It's like their favorite pastime is to just rot.
Okay.
They're super weak. So anyway, a lot of this is about the New Deal part and not so much the green part. And I didn't really get much into the New Deal part, like just as far as the.
Well, what did I see? There's one where they're talking about overhauling the transportation system.
Okay, where is that?
To remove pollution. That's page 8.
Oh, that's where I'm at.
Page 8.
Overhaul, there it is.
At the bottom there.
Line 15.
And which is technology going through. Okay. I like the part where they say high-speed rail.
Sure, yeah, right.
Because, like, if you look at Europe or China or, like, especially, like, Japan is known for high-speed rail. All these places have fast transportation.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man, it would be so incredible. Like, real estate in Minneapolis is bonkers. I mean, it's nothing compared to, like, Southern California or something like...
Seattle.
Or San Francisco, dude.
Oh, San Francisco.
That's probably the worst in the nation. Like, this house would probably cost us, like, $5,000 a month in San Francisco, if not more. You could sell this house for, I bet, $3 million in San Francisco. But this house is worth, like, $240,000 here. So, anyway... how great would it be for me to be able to get on a high-speed rail, be in the suburbs in 5 minutes during rush hour, and then be at my workshop that I pay, $700, $800 a month for, instead of $2,000 a month for across the street. Like,
yeah,
that'd be so great, dude. Ugh.
Well, that's like Elon Musk is kind of doing that with his boring company.
Right.
But it's not going to be like high speed. It's just going to be bypassing.
I thought it was high speed. I thought that thing went like 700 miles an hour or something.
That's what they're building to that.
Sure. Well, yeah, you got to start somewhere.
The initial ones right now are for like electric only vehicles. And they only go like it's only ever going to go like 60 miles an hour max.
They can't do 100 out of it? I mean, as long as you're not stuck in Los Angeles. Have you ever been in Los Angeles traffic, dude?
Oh, yeah.
It's miserable.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It takes you an hour to go, literally 5 miles.
No, we were in LA. We were driving down to San Diego, and an airplane landed on the highway in front of us. Like, its engines went out or something, and it did like an emergency landing on the highway.
So if Southern California needed anything to impede traffic anymore, just put an airplane on the highway. It was like
we were stuck there for like 3 hours.
I bet, dude.
It was just
That's where you just gotta shut off your car and get out and walk around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. I remember I was staying in where was I? I guess I wasn't too far from the beach, like in LA, and we had this event to go to up in Hollywood, and that's like 5 miles, dude. Yeah. And it took us, not even in peak rush hour, dude, it took us about an hour to get there and back in our own car. Like, that was just, oh man, that was bonkers. That place is unreal. There has to be a better way. Like freaking zip lines or something. Anything would be better than traffic in Los Angeles.
I mean, part of that was what I was telling you before about urban sprawl and stuff.
Okay.
Where people, they live far away from where they're trying to be. And so you have all these people driving around.
Right.
Whereas if you had, high density housing, you wouldn't have so many people driving around because you could have more people living together in one area. Mm-hmm. Instead of, sprawled out where you got to drive so long.
Right.
To get into the cities.
Yeah.
Plus, if the higher density you build, the cheaper it is for affordability.
Right. And the thing is, I mean, living in community is so much better for everybody involved. But people, avoid it at all possible costs. Yeah. And just, if they're in the city, they just buy a giant house and lock the door, and they just stay inside all the time and don't allow people in. They don't have visitors. They don't have people living with them. It's so, no wonder we're just everybody's depressed right now. People just don't get it.
There's no sense of, unity or community.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's like those, where is it that they have those communities, where, I mean, it works like just an apartment, just like
co-housing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. In Sweden, where do they do that? Denmark, maybe?
Yeah, like Denmark.
Yeah, dude, that stuff is beautiful, man.
you get like these like huge mansions, and you have like 12 families living in them.
Right, and everybody takes turn
big yard,
cooking and cleaning, and the kids all have.
Or you just have like one person who cooks, and then that's just their job.
Yeah, if they're great at cooking, then they can be the cook, and I'm great at fixing things, so I'm the building maintenance guy.
Yeah,
and you know, oh, it's so great, dude.
Yeah, and then the thing is too is that, you know, you're. It's not like you're just like working to make money. It's like you're working for, you know, an actual purpose.
Right, yeah. It's,
you know,
oh man. It's like people have become so indoctrinated with the idea, with like a 9-to-5 ideology. Yeah. And, you know, I was watching the one interview with AOC, and she was talking about saying something about how we don't want to have to go to work or something, you know, and we like want to, you know, there's just so many better options than just like working for all of your money and like working your life away.
Well, the average age for males is 78. So you're gonna
the what?
The average age for males in America is 78 years old.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's going down. It's going down in America. It's 78 now. So you're going to retire when you're 65, and then you'll have...
the retirement age?
No, the dying
average
age.
The average
lifespan
expectancy. Dude, you can't like word that as the average age for males. I'm like, how do we have 10 trillion 100-year-olds and then like under 78 we have also the same, like, I was like, what on earth? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
That means that when the baby boomers all finally die, there's going to be like 4 of us left.
No. The average lifespan.
Okay.
Is 78.
That's not very good.
Which is like, you work till you're 65, you retire, and then you have...
You can't even walk anymore when you... Camera quit again.
No, it's recording.
No, I'm telling the camera that I quit again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, average age, so you retire at 65.
Yeah, so you work at your job till you're 65, then you retire, and then you have like 5 more years before your health problems,
geriatric,
you know, enable you not to go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's miserable.
And then you end up just paying for all your health problems with all your retirement savings.
Man,
Isn't that sad and depressing?
It's not acceptable, dude. I refuse to do that. Yeah, dude. Dude, you should, me and my buddy John intend to buy a house in Minneapolis or maybe in a different city and just like start a community living house. You should join it with us.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You don't want to live with me.
Well, I mean, I have my own plans, Jesse.
What are your plans?
Well, I want to live in my car and then travel full time.
That's great. But then here's just like a home base for you.
I mean, yeah, it could be like a home base.
Because I plan on having an airplane and just traveling everywhere.
I mean,
I plan on living first of all, I plan on living 6 months of the year as far away from Minnesota as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That, I give it 2 more years and I cannot do that anymore. I will, my life will crash and burn if I have to do this very much longer.
No, well, winter's only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just going to get at least, I mean, not even necessarily colder and
the weather's going to be more moody.
Yeah, it's going to suck. Yeah. It's going to just be gray and all different forms of wet for 7 months and then 8 months. And then before long, we're just going to dude, this is incredibly depressing stuff to learn about.
That's it's 50 degrees today.
Yeah.
Literally 2 weeks ago, it was 10 degrees outside.
Yeah, and it was 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah, and next week it's going to be almost 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, I remember yesterday I was taking a turn, a left turn, so I had to look to the right. And now I was wait a minute, I can see down the road now. And I remember 2 weeks ago, this snowbank was over the top of my car. And I'm somebody's going to die at this intersection. Yeah. I can't see anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
man.
see, now we're dealing with all this flooding too.
Yeah.
I just heard on the radio that said that the river is going to go up 10 feet.
Dude.
Like the Mississippi River is going to go up.
Dude, and how about
10
Nebraska,
feet.
man? Is it Nebraska or Oklahoma or something?
I don't know.
That's flooded, dude. The whole friggin' state, man. Like,
Really?
we aren't gonna have produce this summer, dude. These farmers are screwed. Like, thousands and thousands and thousands of farmers have lost everything.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's
Just
like a national emergency.
It's all just flooded everywhere.
And that's the thing, dude. Nobody even knows about this just because it's like some stupid flyover state. Nobody gives a shit. Sorry,
I wanna look
I'm not
that
supposed
up.
to swear, am I?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
You can swear.
Yeah, dude. It's not like it's not rich people and.
Is it Missouri?
No, it's definitely not Missouri.
No.
It's too mountainous. No, it's Nebraska. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Missouri declares state of emergency amid flooding. Nebraska estimates over $1 billion in damage.
Yeah, Nebraska called in the National Guard, I think.
25 states are at serious risk of flooding this spring. Deadly floods pushing to Missouri. More states in rain-soaked U.S. Midwest. Yeah. Oh, that's the thing with global warming is
Guess I
that
shouldn't slam hard objects on the table that our microphone is sitting on.
it's fine.
That's gonna be the loudest thing you have to. Anyway, what about global warming? It's not even a thing, don't you know that, Micah?
No, it's a thing.
How can you say that there's global warming when it's like 10 degrees outside? This isn't warm.
No. It's your. Well, global warming affects different areas of the globe differently.
Right.
We just think that because it's going to have. I don't want to get started into like how weather works.
Why not?
But the warmer the Earth is, the more your air on Earth is going to swirl around.
Sure.
Because your cold air wants to come down to the equator because it's denser, and so the Earth's rotation pulls the dense air out because it's like centripetal force.
Okay.
Which then pushes the less dense air more up north, and so you have a swirl because it's going like this, and so this one has more rotational energy, and so it swirls.
Yep.
Anyways, the point being is that the amount of moisture we have coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, well, there's going to be more of that, and the amount of cold air we have coming across the Rocky Mountains over in Canada coming down like this, there's going to be more of that.
So we're like right in
the Midwest is right in the middle. So,
oh man, so you're saying that in the real life apocalypse movie, it's going to be the Midwest will just be a wasteland that nobody can bear to live in?
It's going to be a big swamp. Because you get all this nice warm
Well, it'll
air
be a
coming up
swamp in
here.
the winter and then a desert in the summer.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, probably, yeah.
God. It already just gets unbearably hot here in the summer, man. People like,
well, that's,
why do we stay in
well,
this
like
godforsaken
Atlanta.
state? Yeah.
I looked at the average temperatures in Atlanta because I want to move down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like 30 degrees in winter and 86 degrees in summer. So it has like a 60-degree range. Whereas Minnesota is like 80s in summer and then like negative 20 in winter.
Yeah.
And there's like 100 degrees difference.
That's not our average low though, or our like.
I think it's like -6 or something. I can look it up quick.
I guess I don't even know how they calculate exactly all of that stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why do we do this to ourselves? It doesn't make any sense. Do you know how much space is like not taken up in this world? And here we are just occupying the most godforsaken land.
Okay. January is 24. Positive
Is average?
24.
Yeah, I knew it was positive.
To
We don't have an
86.
average or negative.
Let me look up Atlanta. So 24 to 86, that's only like 60, I guess.
62 degrees.
All right, and then Atlanta is 53 to 89. How much is that?
36.
Yeah.
We're 62 and they're 36.
Yeah, that's like,
we have twice as much variance as they do.
Yeah. Which is interesting because they're like, oh man, it's so hot, but it's like, yeah, but the rest of the year is beautiful.
Yeah, dude. Like people were complaining about living in Phoenix and how there's that like 2 weeks in the summertime where it's like 110, 120 degrees or something. It's like, dude, we have 2 weeks in the winter where like if you're outside too long, you'll just die. Like there's nothing you can do, you will just die.
Yeah, like the polar vortex. The wind chill was literally negative 50 degrees.
It was like negative 60, dude. In some places, at least.
Yeah.
I think around here it was negative 60 even.
It was literally like you're outside for like 5 minutes, your entire body is covered up, and then your eyeballs start hurting.
Yeah, dude, I was in a crawl space 3 days in a row fixing pipes. I fixed a pipe that burst, and then the next day it like it burst again, and then I went back and fixed it. And I was like adding insulation, and I brought a heater the second time, and even with a heater there, the next day it started freezing again, but then I was able to fix or thaw it out before it burst the third time. That was just dumb, dude.
We had an airplane. The APU was down, and we had like a heat cart hooked up to it, and the heat cart was not made for that cold.
For 30 below real temperature.
So the entire airplane froze, and then they ended up like running the engines, which is like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
They ended up running the engines for like 2 or 3 hours so that they can, put heat in the cabin to unfreeze all these lines.
Dude, and can we just talk about how inefficient commercial airlines are?
Oh, sure.
As far as just like fuel and stuff?
Yeah.
I might have this wrong, but me and my friends did the math one time on like the Airbus.
Yeah.
And how many like thousands of dollars per hour in fuel it uses per person on there, dude. It's like several $100s per hour per person to operate the Airbus, and like a 4-seat airplane is like $20 per person per hour. Like, what business do we have hurling those people over the ocean in a freaking like industrial revolution era factory? Like, that's just, I mean, gal, they're concerned about cow farts, and we're just like, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that much. That seems like a lot.
It probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
probably not totally accurate, but it was something ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a lot though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking about that, and like somehow airlines don't actually have a huge profit margin.
Yeah.
Which is weird because
well, that's like you just pay for gas.
Right.
Yeah.
My friend was just telling me that she took a flight like in Southeast Asia in country, and it was like $20 or $30 or something, and it was a commercial airline.
Oh, in Asia?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it was a 1-hour flight, but you can't fly to Chicago for $20 or $30. That's $100 or $200.
Well, one of the things here is that airlines have to pay for so much insurance.
Oh,
like
sure.
to insure an airplane that flies that many people is like millions and millions of dollars
per year. Probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like you look, like the Boeing 737 Max 8.
Yeah.
They've had like
that's the one that replaced the Airbus.
They had like 2 of them that had crashed. It was like the Malaysian airline that disappeared.
Yeah.
And then there's another one, I don't know where it was. That one just crashed.
That's not a good ratio.
And so, literally, like the entire world,
rate.
the entire world has grounded all of the airplanes.
Yeah.
Like, none of them are allowed to fly.
That's a terrible fatality rate.
Millions, that's billions and billions of lost revenue that, insurance companies are having to pay out.
Yeah.
And so, just to insure airplanes is so expensive. That's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Insurance.
Man. That's crazy. See, yeah, I want to like start my own private airline someday, but that's the stuff I think about is insurance and well, I guess that's mostly that'd be the hardest part. Like, how do you insure a private airline? That would be like, there's no way you could turn a profit on a 6-seated airplane for a private airline. You know, you'd have to charge.
Well, you're flying people who are really rich.
No, dude, that's not what I want to do. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's how you make a profit.
Right. I want to have like an accessible private airline, though, that, you know, maybe cost as much or even cheaper, hopefully, than a commercial airline.
Yeah.
But granted, the availability would be a lot lower. And the thing is, there's just no pilots. Like, nobody, I don't know. There's obviously not enough pilots. Otherwise, like, we wouldn't be flying such massive airplanes and using all of this fuel. It's crazy. It seems like I really want to do more research on that because it seems really counterintuitive. You know, like a transit bus full of people is obviously far more efficient than 100 cars on the road.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't seem like it seems counterintuitive that a large airplane would be less efficient than that many small airplanes. But I think there's just something different about just lift and stuff.
Well, I mean,
per hour, how much force you need for lift.
Like, per hour is more expensive because it's going farther, too.
Per hour is more expensive?
Yeah, like an hour, you're going like 500 miles. Versus like a little airplane.
Oh, but it's
$20 an hour because you're only...
So maybe that was...
100 miles an hour.
That's a good point. And so... So like maybe the Airbus was several hundred per person per hour, and a little Cessna is 20 per person per hour. Yeah. However, it doesn't equalize though. You're still paying way more money. Like maybe it takes you twice as long to get somewhere, but it doesn't take you 10 times as long to get somewhere in a Cessna, you know?
Yeah.
So it's still like half the cost.
But I'm telling you, man, Hyperloops. Yeah. That was the other thing. That's what I was telling you about. High-speed rail. You're talking about how inefficient airplanes are. Imagine how much money we would save if we had, 280 mile an hour train that went from New York to LA. Freaking...
Yeah, dude, you're there in, 3 hours?
Well, it's more than 3 hours.
Okay.
It'd be
6 hours?
Like 10.
Oh, really? 230 miles an hour, what did you say?
Well, I don't know, like 280. I mean, that's like really, really fast.
Okay.
For a train.
And I guess that's like what a plane flies anyway, so.
Well, planes are like 500.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Well,
I need to get
the more modern planes, they fly, below enough the speed of sound that it doesn't shake their airplane up to pieces. But
whatever happened to the Concorde, dude?
Oh, it's too loud.
Are you serious? That was the problem?
Yeah, too loud.
Because, man, how fast did that thing go? Like 500 or 1,000 or something?
Well, yeah. When you go that fast, it's all Mach numbers.
So, right. Yeah, so what is Mach though? Mach is sound of speed.
Yeah.
Speed of sound, isn't it?
Yeah. So it changes on the air density.
But what would be the average speed of sound?
Well, on land it's if you're on land, like sea level, it's like 760 something.
Okay.
But if you're up in the air.
So Concorde maybe went Mach 1 or something. You should look that up.
Yeah.
On your phone right now.
Oh, right now. Oh, let's look it up. They've figured out how to make. Well, not how to make them quieter, but a little bit less quieter.
Less loud.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not making them less quiet. And it was just the engine that was loud, or just the object traveling faster than sound that was loud?
1,354 miles per hour.
Was the Concorde?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it could go coast to coast in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Except it didn't go coast to coast. Well,
where did it go? Was it transatlantic or something?
Yeah, it was oceanic. Transoceanic.
Was there only one of them? Or did they have like a fleet?
No, there are two of them. Two of them, yeah.
How did they call? How was that too loud? Who was it too loud for? Was it too loud to just sit on it? You mean?
I don't know. I think it was expensive too.
Because I mean, I guess
But
an airplane. I mean, any jet that you're on is just loud. Like you get to where you're going, you're like, dang.
Here's your A380.
737
miles an hour.
And that's the current like.
That's the double-decker one that goes to Dubai.
Okay.
They have a bunch of these over at Dubai.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
The Qatar Airlines or what?
Well, yeah, from Dubai you can with a 380 you can fly anywhere in the world basically from Dubai.
In one go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
I wonder what its range is.
like America, you can't fly. Well, you can fly. You can fly to America.
What's the range?
From
Check
Dubai.
the range of the A380.
Oh, check the range. Let's see. Range 9,444 miles.
And what's the circumference of Earth?
I don't know. Let's look at
1,900 something?
9,000.
9,000
Yeah.
miles? That's gotta be half the circumference.
Earth is 25,000 miles.
Dang, okay, so it's only a third. A little more than a third.
Yeah, a little more
of
than
the
a third.
circumference. So it could get almost anywhere in the world.
2/5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can fly quite a ways. Yeah. But, I mean, it's significantly faster than taking a train that goes 50 miles an hour.
Right, dude. Can you imagine though, just a tube underneath the ocean for 5 hours, going 2,000 miles an hour? Because you totally could. Like your safety.
I mean, I think eventually you'd have to deal with pressure problems.
It doesn't have to go super deep. You're in the ocean. It could even be a bridge over the ocean.
Yeah,
or something.
just like a big floaty.
Yeah. I mean, it'd have to be something so that ships can get over or under it or around it somehow.
Yeah.
So.
I think transoceanic will probably be airplanes for a while.
For sure.
But I think continental, like coast to coast, that's going to be high speed stuff.
Underground or where?
Well, probably underneath the Rocky Mountains, over by like New
okay.
Mexico, over there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Are they working on something New York to LA right now? Oh,
No.
they should be.
No.
Gotta get Elon.
Well, that's like, it's just, it's like, I don't know. It's like this, like, all these, like St. Paul, right? It started as a port city, right?
Right.
There were no roads to and from St. Paul.
Sure.
The only way to get to St. Paul was to take a boat up the Mississippi River, right? And then to get to Minneapolis, you take an ox cart,
Yeah.
up over the waterfall. But now it's like we have, the interstate, which was a giant government project.
Mm-hmm.
You have an interstate, and that allows,
Which
like,
was, I mean, great. Like,
well, you think of
it
like
was
how
necessary,
much
but
more
it's-
business the interstate brings in than the river.
Right.
Just like
Oh,
trucking
yeah.
in general.
1,000 times, 10,000 times over.
Yeah,
I guess.
Amazon is not putting packages on barges.
Yeah, right.
And sending up the Mississippi River.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
and
interesting.
part of the reason is because it's high speed. It's more efficient
Mm-hmm.
and it's high speed.
And just, I mean, you have more options. You're not just like, you don't.
Oh, yeah.
You have more than one
Yeah.
destination possibility.
Yeah.
And
see, that's the thing that, if it's gonna be expensive to put in, high speed rail, but because of the high speed rail, it's gonna build all sorts of other, commercialization, along that high speed route.
Right.
You
Yeah, and so, man, like, this
Plus,
is why
you could route it through Las Vegas. You could go to Las Vegas on the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And, I mean, this is just why, like, I don't know, what's the term I'm looking for? Why can't capitalism is just so frustrating. Because, like, why do we have to change money for that to happen?
Yeah.
We have all of the resources in this nation to build that thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's that the high-speed rail won't make as much money as all the other, businesses and, business opportunities that come because of it.
Right.
And so it's, you're not going to have a for-profit
but
high-speed rail. It's just going to be, it has to be a giant government project.
Right.
Nobody wants to build it because you're not going to make any money off of it.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly be like a... Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why hasn't society progressed to the point where we've, like, figured out, like, we don't need the government to demand that we do all of these things. Guys, let's just pool our resources together and do this thing that's going to make us a better world for everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And, like, because we have the resources. I mean...
it's
there. We can make this tunnel.
Supercities in Toronto.
Oh, dude, that's our next episode, isn't it?
I was going to put it in this one.
Oh, are you? Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, we're coming up on an hour already. This is the fourth roll.
We got another 15 minutes.
And we have probably 5 more minutes left.
Do like a preview.
Sure.
Well, did you hear about Belmont, Arizona?
No.
I'll look this one up. Bill Gates is.
Oh yeah. Well, he's
like planning to build a city.
I saw it in your last video. Yeah.
Arizona. He's only invested like $80 million so far, but $80 million. That's nice.
You know that dude gives away? Doesn't he give away like 90% of his money?
Not 90. Their foundation is giving away, I think, like $40 billion.
Oh, and maybe that's the stat I saw. Maybe that is equivalent to 90% of his wealth or something. I don't know.
Well, he has like $90 billion. It's about 90.
$90 billion?
Yeah,
is he number one?
Well, most of that is in Microsoft.
Sure.
Because he owns a lot of it.
Is he number one though right now?
No, it's Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, that's what I wondered. Okay.
Yeah.
What does Jeff Bezos have? Don't even tell me.
Dude, it's like upper 90s, I think. It's a lot.
Do you think that society will allow a trillionaire to happen before like socialism took over?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have that much money in like cash.
Right. Just
it'd be like in like
assets
and stuff.
Right, I understand. Yeah. Nobody who's even a millionaire probably has
$1
million in liquid cash.
I mean, you could look at like monarchies, possibly.
Sure.
Like, if you own a country.
Yeah, well, that doesn't even count.
But
you don't. Yeah. Do you think that we would see a private trillionaire in our lifetime or ever before the system imploded? And
well, maybe if. I mean, we could have like crazy amount of inflation, but I don't.
Sure.
That value is way in the future.
Yeah, I wonder. It seems like the sort of thing that stuff would have to implode. Like, not only that, but there would be. This person would be so hated for owning that many resources when there are so many people who don't own any resources, and so that person would.
Yeah.
Most of their money would just go to security. I feel like. Just. So
not like trillions of dollars, but.
No, but.
A lot of it.
It's true. Yeah, they would have to live in a bunker. Literally, I bet that would. So many people would want that person dead. Even if not to even knowing that their wealth wouldn't be distributed after that, just for the principle of it, like everybody would hate that person.
That guy's a dick.
Yeah, why does this person need that much money? Well, I feel like we didn't really talk a whole lot.
We didn't really talk about the Green Deal. Is it good or is it bad, Jesse?
Yes.
I think it has good points, and I think it reflects a lot about what we need to do, but not necessarily
how we're gonna do it. Yeah.
There's a definite need for better infrastructure, more access to, affordable housing and healthy food and.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you just read it, it like breaks it down. If the science is accurate on the climate change stuff, the 2 degrees Celsius thing, like we have no choice.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, our children or our grandchildren will be living in like a terrible world.
Yeah.
There's no real way around that, unless we do make changes like this. So I think that's great. However, I don't necessarily see how. Yeah, I don't see how we're gonna do it. I mean, the stuff that she wants to do in 10 years, like, I feel like that could be borderline like Civil War fuel. Honestly, dude. Do you know how badly conservatives like hate this ideology? Just loathe this ideology? Yeah. Because they think it's taking away their freedom or something. Well, we are actively taking away the freedom of future generations just for our own benefit, just to be comfortable right now, and it's just disgusting. Yeah. So I could say that I'm like super excited to see not necessarily in any good or bad way, but I'm just excited to see what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez like does in the future, and what she can at least inspire other people to do. Yeah. Because, dude, she doesn't take corporate money, dude. She publicly vowed against taking money from corporations for any campaign or anything.
Huh.
Like, I think that's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, she's a politician, and we're just kind of bred to not trust anything that they say. However, that's just what I'm saying, is I'm excited to see what comes of the future. What kind
of person she turns out to be.
Yeah, and what she ends up doing for the country.
Let's see. What else did I like about this, Jesse? It talks about in here, where did it talk about it? Here you go. I like this one. This is on page 5.
Okay.
It says, to secure for all people of the United States for generations to come clean water and air, eliminate, climate.
That I saw it as you said.
Climate and community resiliency.
Yep.
Healthy food and access to nature, sustainable environment. I think just like generally like, you know, like you hear about things like Flint, Michigan, where like you literally can't drink the water there.
Right.
That's like a third world problem.
Yeah.
That's literally like, oh, you know, the people in Africa don't have clean water.
Right.
That's like, how is that a problem here?
Right.
You know, every single person in America should have clean water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
It's just like, it's just frustrating to hear that. Or like healthy food. Like, healthy food in the United States is so much more expensive than like cheap junk food.
Oh man, that's...
You know, every person should have access to fresh vegetables.
Yeah, that like is a personal issue for me, dude.
You know,
yeah.
No more, you know, Chef Boyardee, Chef
RGB,
ravioli, okay?
Chef KGB.
Yeah, that's right. No more like, I want fresh food, not food that's been, you know, sitting in the warehouse for 6 months.
Yeah, and I'm not even so concerned about that. I'm concerned about like
canned
sugar, dude. Sugar in everything.
We're too fat, man.
Dude.
And it's addicting.
So I was watching this YouTube video. This guy gave up sugar for a month, and they were looking at what they can and can't have. And they were talking about McDonald's. They're like, you know, the bread, the ketchup, everything has sugar. And they're like, well, at least I can have the French fries. And he's like, no, there's probably sugar in the French fries. And she searched it, and there's sugar in McDonald's French fries to just make them golden brown.
Yeah.
Like, dude, sugar is going to kill me. I have such a problem with sugar, dude, and it's so not only accessible, but like almost impossible to avoid.
Yeah. Well, that's like stinking
orange juice. It's so expensive to avoid.
Like an 8-ounce glass of orange juice has like 22 grams of sugar in it. It's
right. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's the whole thing about like when you juice, fruits and veggies are pretty good for you because they have the fructose in them.
Sugar.
Like there's fructose in all the fruit and veggies.
Yeah.
But if you're getting your fruit, if you're allowing yourself to get sugar from only fruit or veggies, like chances are you're not just like overeating fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
And then also you're getting a bunch of fiber and nutrients and stuff alongside the fructose. And so if you just do juice, I could drink a gallon of juice in an hour, no question about it. And,
yeah, definitely.
And you have just removed all of the fiber and many of the nutrients when you remove the fiber, the actual like.
It's just the flavor.
Yeah, it's literally just like.
It's the color,
impurities making it
color
colorful.
And the flavor.
Just impurities making it colorful, and then sugar making it sweet.
Yeah.
And water.
That's literally what orange juice is. It's like they take the pulp, and then they take that stuff and they get the color from that stuff, and then they just like the actual orange juice. It doesn't actually taste like orange juice. They have to put flavor into it.
Yeah. It's really bland. Yeah. Also, another thing is just the fruit that we get in the U.S. is like garbage compared to tropical fruit. Have you ever eaten a banana like near the equator?
Well, mangoes in the Philippines.
Dude, I bet.
Like
I bet that's a life-changing experience.
Straight from the tree. The mangoes you get, talk to the camera. The mangoes you get at the supermarket are complete bogus mangoes.
And to add to that, dude, the bananas that we get, at least in the Midwest, maybe down south they have better bananas, but the bananas we get are engineered to travel well and to keep well. They
in a giant refrigerated warehouse.
Yeah,
for 6 months.
I promise you, go to a country on the equator and eat a banana, and it will change your life. You will never want to eat another banana again, ever. Bananas in Minnesota are just bland. Yeah. They're just garbage.
Well,
they're trash, and I love them.
So funny because it's completely true.
Yeah.
Like, you can buy bananas like all year round. Well, the ones you buy in February have been sitting in a warehouse for 6 months.
Yeah, right.
It's
crazy.
like. That's why we got to move. We have to move to indoor, year-round farming.
Just like a hydroponic building?
Yeah, hydroponics.
Yeah, dude. I feel like you still... you can't reproduce, like, the sun as well, though, can you? Oh, like, UV lights don't just totally reproduce the sun, do they?
Well, it's...
And just the benefits of like, just a good climate? You can't reproduce a climate perfectly, can you?
We know, like... what this is actually interesting, Jesse, because we know which wavelengths of light that plants use to grow, and so instead of doing like a wide spectrum like blank LEDs, we can do just that specific wavelength, and then like our lighting becomes like much more efficient.
We can, like, dial in the sun.
Yeah, because instead of putting all this other energy into all these other spectrums, we only do one spectrum.
Interesting.
It's one color that the plant, can most achieve.
And we can just obviously regulate humidity and temperature and stuff perfectly.
Yeah. And, well, the thing that I like about hydroponics is that you can have it in a much smaller space. You can build vertically, which means you can have it inside a high-density population.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because
we can demolish all of these friggin' farm fields everywhere and start like developing them for something.
Yeah.
Solar panels at least.
Building cities.